Welcome to my channel. My name is Nani. This video is about how veganism made me sick. And I know it sounds super crazy, and it's crazy for me to think back now how I could not see it. And so this is kind of like my process, figuring it out. And hopefully it might help some of you that might have similar symptoms or things that you're stuck with. And so it's kind of like this healthy loop that I was stuck in, because what was happening is I was getting this rash around here, kind of like basically where my lymphatic system is. I'm fighting a lot of sounds also, so forgive me, but I just need to film this video now, so I will make it work. Anyway, I was getting this rash and it was very inflamed. I tried to figure it out a bunch. And every time that I would eat certain foods, it would kind of flare up, for example. And so I made my diet very strict. I knew like what food not to have, which food to have, or what I thought. And so every time my rash would get worse and get worse, I would just get stricter and then eat more of these healthy vegan foods. For example, cacao or spinach, or almonds, or any kind of like fruits and vegetables. And what I didn't realize is that those are the foods that were actually making me sick. Those are the foods that were causing the problem. But my brain was so attached to the idea that veganism was the ultimate answer. Like, it was a huge cognitive bias from myself. And I kept trying to confirm, like I had a confirmation bias that veganism was healthy. And because I had this bias, it stopped me from actually thinking and reflecting, is this diet maybe the issue? Because social media makes it look like have your spinach, have your cacao, have all of these things. It'll make you better. And so it wasn't until desperation that it allowed for my brain to think outside the box and to start to maybe reflect and look at it. And so I went kind of extreme after years and years of trying to eliminate foods, be gluten-free, be not having any nuts, not having this, not having that. And it wasn't until I went carnivore out of desperation that I actually found more information. And so carnivore is kind of extreme. And now looking back, like I'm very lucky that the oxalates left my body, but not too fast. But first I want to talk about how vegetables and fruits will deposit oxalates in the body. And there's someone called Sally Norton, and she's way more educated on the subject. She even wrote a book, Oxalate. She even wrote a book, so it's called what is it? Superfood? Toxic superfood, that's what it is. And she goes in depth as to the science and everything that happens. But essentially what I had was oxalate poisoning, and I didn't realize that. And so oxalates are, your body produces some of it, and it's okay for our bodies to digest a little bit, but a very small quantity. And for example, in a smoothie that I would create, cacao with spinach and almonds and all of that stuff, there's probably like 700, I think it's like milligrams. I should have this information, but I don't. And I think a healthy amount for your body to be able to absorb, it's like 25 milligrams. And so the amount that I was consuming is way more than you're supposed to have. And that's what kept making me more and more sick. And I think personally, because as a child, I had been sick quite a bit with asthma, and therefore, every night going to bed, for example, or a lot of the nights, I would have a nebulizer to help my lungs stay open. So that was medication that I was taking. It's called, I have it here somewhere, albuterol. and that helps for your lungs to open. I also had a puffer that I was attached to because my asthma was very bad. I would frequently end up in the hospital because none of those things would help me breathe, and then we'd have to go to the hospital for them to really open up my lungs. And it's scary. Like when you almost feel like you're going to die frequently as a kid, it was very stressful. And so my system also naturally was just always constantly stressed from feeling like, is my breath going to leave me? And so I think from being sick, my system naturally was just already compromised. And then when I went vegan, for some idea, I thought it was a good idea from reading a book. And that book was Skinny Bitch, and she talks about and I'm kind of rambling, but hopefully you can follow. She was talking about how veganism is, better for the planet, and look what happens to the plants. And if you're on a vegan diet, then you're also going to maintain your weight and all of those things. And my poor, impressionable mind believed it. And this is the part that's so hard with having a confirmation bias, is that once I made my mind up that that was the way, like I was not open to other things. And so, yeah, being vegan really made me sick. And I'm so sad that I wasn't able to listen to my body and make this ulterior moral, what I assumed as like, oh, this is the best thing to do, allow to create this sickness. And thank God I figured it out before it was too late. And I really allude this to, one, Sally Norton and putting a lot of information out there, and two, allowing my mind to open up. So if you find yourself sick and you find yourself attached, where you really have this idea that it's not your diet, like really open up all of the doors. Open up the doors. Like, is it your diet? Is it your lifestyle? Is it your stress? Is it your work? Is it your relationship? Because all of these things affect you. Like, diet is one thing, but if you're stressed constantly, that's another thing that really affects your body and your body's ability to heal. Is it your relationships? Are they supportive? Are they conducive to a healthy lifestyle? And of course, like, nothing is perfect, but you really have to lift up all the rocks to look underneath. So if you find yourself sick and you're not looking at your diet, I would really advise you to look at it and to look into Sally Norton's work, because for me, as soon as I cut out the oxalate, it took about a year. My skin is not fully there, but it's probably now like 95% healed. And I have other videos as to what the routines were, and I noticed it almost immediately. And it's crazy because even to this day, I'm still healing from that. Like, my urine still has a bit of like this murky tone. But yeah, allow your mind to open up beyond, and you don't have to go extreme, you don't have to be carnivore, but open up that maybe it is your diet that is making you sick, and maybe not, perhaps not, but hopefully this video helps to guide you in a direction that can help you. So stay tuned, comment below if there's anything else you want me to cover. I'm already a year and a half in and I feel amazing. So this is why I have this drive to share, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that went through this superfood craze and how it might actually be making you worse than better. So stick around, subscribe, and see you soon.